A shot in Sarajevo, and boom, the whole of Europe goes up in flames. But hold on, how did a fight in the Balkans turn into World War I? Take a deep breath, because this story has espionage, politics, imperial ego, miscalculations, and a lot of powerful people making terrible decisions. Let's understand all of this in just a few minutes. Before the shot, Europe was already about to explode. At the beginning of the 20th century, the great powers were in a crazy race over who had more land, more colonies, more ships, and of course, more weapons. It was like a giant domino setup soaked in gunpowder. On one side were Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, the so-called Triple Alliance. On the other were France, the United Kingdom, and Russia, the Triple Entente. Everyone distrusted everyone else, signing secret treaties and preparing for a conflict that in their minds would be quick and glorious. Spoiler, it wouldn't be. Then comes the spark. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary, is assassinated in Sarajevo by a Serbian nationalist. Austria blames Serbia, sends an ultimatum full of absurd demands, and even when Serbia accepts almost everything, Vienna declares war anyway. And this is where the domino line finally falls. Russia, protector of the Slavic peoples, backs Serbia. Germany backs Austria. France backs Russia. The United Kingdom watches Belgium being threatened and decides to jump in as well. In a matter of days, it turns into chaos completely out of control. No one knows how to stop it anymore. Germany, believing it could wrap everything up quickly, activates the famous Schlieffen Plan: defeat France first in a lightning strike, then rush east to face Russia, which they assumed would take longer to mobilize. To do that, Germany invades Belgium, a neutral country, which infuriates Britain. The British press turns the invasion into a worldwide scandal. At first, it looks like the plan might work. The German army advances like a steamroller and gets dangerously close to Paris. But at the Battle of the Marne, the French, literally using taxis to carry soldiers to the front, manage to halt the advance and push the Germans back. And just like that, the German plan goes out the window. Without a quick victory, the war turns into the worst possible nightmare. Each side digs trenches for nearly 700 kilometers, from the North Sea to Switzerland. The result is a stalled but incredibly deadly war. Knee-deep mud, rats the size of cats, bombs falling day and night, and weapons the world had never seen being used on a massive scale. Machine guns, poison gas, heavy artillery. The front line becomes a living hell. And while Europe bleeds, the rest of the planet is dragged along. Japan, allied with Britain, enters the war against Germany. The Ottoman Empire decides to support Germany and Austria-Hungary, opening an entirely new front in the Middle East. Colonized countries in Africa, Asia, and Oceania are forced to send soldiers to fight on behalf of the empires. It was a world war before the name even existed. Technology advances faster than the generals can understand. Airplanes start timidly, just spying, then move to dropping bombs and dueling in the air. German airships, like the famous Zeppelins, cross the skies to bomb British cities. Tanks appear as metal monsters, trying to break the trench deadlock. And poison gas turns the battlefield into something straight out of a horror movie. In Russia, suffering reaches the breaking point. The war goes so badly that the Tsar's empire collapses. Strikes, hunger, revolts, everything explodes at once and leads to the Russian Revolution. Russia leaves the war, signing a peace deal with Germany. For the Allies, it's a disaster. Now Germany can focus all its power on the Western Front. But in that same year, a new player enters the board: the United States. After ships are sunk by German submarines and a series of provocations, President Woodrow Wilson decides to enter the war. And when the Americans enter, they really enter, with money, weapons, food, and hundreds of thousands of fresh soldiers. Germany launches a final offensive in 1918, throwing everything it has left into one last gamble. But the Allies, now reinforced by the Americans, begin pushing the Germans back. One by one, Germany's allies surrender. Austria-Hungary disintegrates. The Ottoman Empire collapses. Bulgaria throws in the towel. Inside Germany, the situation turns into total chaos: strikes, hunger, revolts of sailors and soldiers. The Kaiser flees to the Netherlands, and Germany hurriedly becomes a republic. With no alternative, the new government accepts the armistice. On November 11, 1918, at 11 a.m., the guns finally fall silent. World War I comes to an end. In 1919, the victors meet at Versailles to decide the future. Germany is forced to accept blame for the conflict, give up territory, pay massive reparations, reduce its army, and lose all its colonies. Austria-Hungary disappears on the map. The Ottoman Empire loses almost everything. Europe is redrawn like a giant puzzle. But peace, ironically, brings no peace at all. The Treaty of Versailles leaves Germany humiliated, bankrupt, and full of resentment. And that resentment, as you already know, will be the perfect fuel for someone named Adolf Hitler. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.